Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely shatter that toxic hustle culture myth we're constantly fed and reveal exactly why trading your free time for money is, well, it's actually just an exhausting trap. If you're trying to reach financial independence, you've probably been bombarded by social media gurus telling you that sleep is the enemy of wealth, right? That the only way to get ahead is to grind harder and just work more hours. But what if that specific advice is actually working against you? Let's just jump right in with a hard reality check. Is your weekend side hustle actually keeping you broke? I mean, it's a serious question. We have to honestly ask ourselves whether driving strangers around late at night, delivering lukewarm takeout, or manually gluing together crafts on a Sunday afternoon is genuinely building wealth. Or is that extra work just draining your energy, burning you out, and actively delaying your true financial independence? Section 1. The side hustle illusion. Take this architect named Eric, for example. Highly skilled guy, but he decided he wanted some extra income. So he opened an Etsy shop selling hand-cut paper goods. It was a really unique little niche, but he quickly realized it made absolutely zero financial sense. Think about all the hidden frustrations he was dealing with. He was spending hours meticulously cutting paper by hand, buying expensive packaging materials, standing in endlessly long lines at the post office to manage shipping, and then, the worst part, having to issue refunds to angry customers when packages inevitably got bent in the mail. His profit margins completely evaporated. He was essentially just selling his time for pennies, with a massive amount of stress attached.
He was so determined to make extra money that he completely pivoted to a different physical hustle. He chopped up softwood from his land and started selling bundles of campfire firewood on the side of the road to tourists for exactly $2.50. And the result? Another total disaster. People never had exact change, so they'd just leave a single dollar bill, or local teenagers would simply come by and steal his entire coffee can full of cash. Have you ever poured your absolute heart into a project, sacrificing your evenings, only to realize the logistical nightmare made the whole thing practically worthless?
Okay, stop for just a second. I want you to honestly do the math on your own life right now. If you're currently running a hustle, have you ever divided your total profits by the actual total hours you put in? I'm talking about factoring in the setup time, the commute, the cleanup, and the actual labor. When you tally it all up, you might be totally horrified to realize you're burning yourself out on nights and weekends to essentially pay yourself like $4 an hour. Moving on to Section 2, the time trading trap. This is the ultimate hamster wheel. When you trade every single hour for $1, you hit a strict, unavoidable physical limit. You only have so many hours in a week. If your side hustle requires you to actively fulfill every single order with your own two hands, you haven't built a business. You've really just given yourself a second job with the worst boss in the world, yourself. Side hustlers often deny themselves weekends, skip family vacations, and work significantly harder than they do at their 9-to-5. You finish a manual project, scramble in a panic to find the next one, and completely exhaust yourself without ever scaling your wealth. The author of The 4-Hour Workweek lays down a brutal reality check for this exact situation. The quote goes, "True wealth is built by divorcing the hours you work from the dollars you earn." And it's so true. If your extra income drops to zero the exact moment you get sick and can't manually turn the crank, your business model is fundamentally broken. Your physical presence simply cannot be the bottleneck for your income. So we have to fundamentally shift our paradigm here. We must move entirely away from the active income model, selling our limited time with strict physical ceilings, and start building the ultimate cheat code: passive, scalable assets. This is the big difference between working for your money and having your money work for you. You want to build a system or a product exactly once, and then sell it an infinite number of times without any additional labor on your end. Which brings us to Section 3, the digital asset solution. Let's circle back to Eric the architect. After the whole paper goods and firewood fiascos, he realized he desperately needed a digital product. During the pandemic, he created a digital sketching pack for an iPad drawing app called Procreate. Actually, scratch that. He didn't even really create it from scratch. He simply took blueprint canvases and photographed material backgrounds that were already lying around his architecture studio. He packaged what he already had. And because it's a digital asset, it requires absolutely no inventory, no shipping materials, and literally zero physical labor to fulfill an order. You might actually have the raw materials for a digital product sitting on your hard drive right now. And get this, it only took him 5 hours to create the entire pack. Just 5 hours of initial work. He listed it online for $25, and now his hourly rate for those initial 5 hours skyrockets every single time someone buys the pack. I want you to imagine waking up, checking your phone, and seeing a notification that you made money overnight while you were fast asleep. That is the incredible leverage of a digital asset. The math here is entirely undeniable. Would you rather sit behind the wheel of your car for 10 grueling hours to make a one-time payout of $150? Or would you rather spend those exact same 10 hours building a digital template one time, knowing it will passively pay your grocery bill every single month for the next 5 years? Passive digital systems are the only genuine way to scale your income without sacrificing your precious life. Let's dive into Section 4, Scalable Passive Income.
Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't have specialized architecture or software skills, but you don't need them. Let's walk through an incredible step-by-step example of low-content publishing. An early retiree named Lori uses a simple free design program called Canva to create things like password logbooks, which are incredibly popular with seniors. First, she designs the interior layout and cover. Next, she lists those digital files on Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing. Finally, when a customer buys it, Amazon acts as her completely free fulfillment center. They handle all the physical printing and heavy lifting of shipping, completely eliminating the headaches Eric faced with his paper goods. Lori gets to totally scratch her creative itch, collecting royalties while she literally watches TV.
When you actually place these two strategies side by side, the contrast is stark. Active crafting, that requires constant, grueling labor. You're manually shipping every item, and your income potential is strictly capped by your physical energy and the hours in a day. On the flip side, digital assets require you to build the product exactly once. The order fulfillment is fully automated by a platform, and your income potential becomes virtually infinite. You totally detach your earnings from your physical effort.
But hey, what if you actually enjoy working with your hands? You can absolutely still have a physical hobby. Take Chris, a blogger who repairs old iPads and iPhones to keep e-waste out of landfills. He makes a tiny profit, under $1,000 over a few months. But here is the vital takeaway from Chris. Make sure your physical hustle is a genuine passion project on your own terms. Do it because you love it, not as a desperate, exhausting hustle that you rely on to pay the mortgage.
And our final section, go make things.
So there are two distinct paths forward, and you've got a critical decision to make about your own journey to financial freedom. Are you going to remain the consumer, trading your time for dollars, risking severe burnout, and ultimately resenting the journey? Or will you become the creator? The creator packages their knowledge, their skills, or their art into a digital asset. They build an engine that works 24/7, giving them the ultimate power to buy back their freedom and say no to stressful work. The secret to wealth isn't working harder for gig apps. For sure, it's working with leverage.
I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to really spark your own scalable strategy. Look at your daily job or the hobbies you absolutely love. What one piece of knowledge, spreadsheet, or template do you possess right now that you could package into a digital product this weekend? It's time to close the gig apps, buy back your time, and go make things.